Hello, I'm Vicki, along with my daughters Jasmine, Cecilia, and Hannah. Welcome to our herbal gardens here at Homestead Blessings.
Bringing fragrance and beauty to the garden, rich variety to cooking, and health to the body. Herbs are so versatile.
And a true blessing to your family and homestead.
So come along on an herbal journey where together we will discover the usefulness of herbs.
Well, we'd like to start our herbal garden by planting some seeds. You can get your herbs from an herbal center or a garden center. Some markets have nice starts. We like to do both. We like to get some at centers and we like to start our own seeds. And basil is really easy to start by seed. So Jasmine, you want to help?
Sure, Mom.
Okay.
Okay, we've got our packet of basil seeds, and these are really tiny. And we've prepared our tray with potting soil or a seed starting mix. And we just use these little packs here.
And where do you get these?
You can get these at hardware stores or greenhouses.
Right.
They're really easy to find.
Right.
Okay, and the seeds are too. You can order them or go to your store and get seeds. So we're just gonna sprinkle some in our hand. And we kind of wet this soil so it's not too dry. It's just right, it kind of stays together when you pinch it. So it's just right. So we'll make a little hole and just drop the seeds in there. That's how easy it is. Well, basil are small seeds, so we're not going to plant them too deep. The bigger the seed, the deeper, you go, about 1 inch or so. But this is just like a 1/4 inch.
I'll help
And that's
you
how
out, too.
easy it is.
Now, we could just scatter these in the garden also, right?
You could, yes. They come back very easy.
But basil loves warm weather.
It does. And then you want to label it and put the date on there so you won't forget what you planted. And just put a little bit of water. And that's how easy it is to start herbs by seed.
Wow. Did you get some seeds over on this side? This will be a nice little tray. And basil comes up very fast. It's a real blessing. Well, whether you start them by seed or pick them up at the garden center or your market, which a lot of markets are getting in plants these days, this is what it's going to look like when it grows up a little bit. We have this inside or maybe a greenhouse, something like that, until the nights are really nice and warm. And after a while, you'll have a plant. If you wait long enough, you could plant these out if you'd like. But we're going to show you this plant. Now this plant, we did get it a nice little nursery, real nice. And what's nice is get to know your nursery, get to know what they use on their plants, and you'll have a better plant, right?
Exactly.
And get to know your growers. That's a blessing. That's what I like to do. So we're going to go over and we're going to show you just how easy it is to transplant your plant once it comes up. So this is what we're going to do. And Jasmine, you can bring a nice bit of water.
Okay.
I've got this little spot right here, and it is really nice loose dirt that we've worked on for a long time. I've already got a lot of plants around, but I think this will go in here just really nice. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to dig my hole at least
Usually twice the size, right?
Twice the
of the root
size.
ball.
Yeah,
twice the size.
Get it kind of loose there. We want, always with herbs, you want good drainage. And we get about 6 hours of sun here a day, and that'll just do this basil great. Basil does like, woo, there's a lot of roots on this.
Been in there a while.
This one's been in there a little while, and I'm gonna loosen this up. But basil is so hardy, it's a blessing. So I'm going to loosen these roots up, and I'm gonna put this down in the hole right there. And you can use a little fish emulsion or a little old horse manure, right?
Yeah.
If you'd like.
Basil likes a rich soil, so we feed it every week or so.
Basil's very easy to grow, and that's pretty. You want to water that?
I'm gonna just put
This
some
is
water
how
on
nice
it.
and easy this is to transplant.
Make sure we water so the water goes all the way down to the bottom of the roots. don't want to shallow water, or otherwise your roots will come up to the top, and you want them covered with dirt. So a good watering.
And right before it rains is a real good time to put your transplants in. So you have plenty of time and your plant doesn't go through any shock. And I'm going to wash my hands now. I've got a lot of mud here. Kind of nice to keep a little water. Of course, the garden hose will work too, but I like to just keep a little water on hand and a little soap. It's just nice and kind of handy to have a little water and a little towel. Makes me feel a little better. And how about looking at some herbs with us that we already have in the garden? You know, we love to grow our herbs throughout our garden, and this is a wonderful herb to have in your garden, on your homestead. It's thyme. It is absolutely a blessing. This year it grew so nice. I'm so excited. Thyme grows really nice in the sun. It's a low grower, and it loves to grow over rocks. We found that out the hard way. We started putting rocks to line our garden, and it just grew over. And it likes gravel, so what's nice about it is you can a lot of times take some of the thyme down here and it will have runners, and you can start another plant like that. You can propagate it by its roots that it's going out, you know, spreading out. I'm going to cut a little bit of this thyme. A lot of times we can get probably several cuttings from this thyme throughout our summer, and that's just a blessing. So I just kind of like to top it off. And for our special projects today, but if I was going to have pizza, other meals that I want to have thyme on, I would just have it right here. I'd have it fresh, and I'd be able to just snip this little thyme like that. This is how I'm gathering my thyme, and I would just sprinkle it over the meal, you know, over the pizza at the very end or whatever, or the salad dressing. Here, I'd have it right here. This is a blessing. We're going to gather a little more and to show you how to do something with it different in a little while. But this is my nice thyme patch. It grows very easily. It doesn't need a lot of fertilizer usually or anything like that extra. It does need a little air sometimes, and I think that's why the rocks and the gravel do real good with it. And it loves containers. It will just overflow in a container. And I'd like to show you another herb I love to have in the garden, and it's parsley. Parsley is a blessing. And when my parsley really gets going like this, it starts having these shoots right in the middle. And I like to kind of take that off. What would happen is it would go to seed, you know. So what I want to do is take that off. And I can go around and just take a stem. There's a lot of parsley in a stem. Parsley is full of delicious nutrients. It is a wonderful, wonderful, during the heat, you know, you can have some parsley and you can have, put it in smoothies and things like that, and it'll really bring you back. Parsley can take a little shade. That's what's nice about parsley. I have a nice sunny spot, but I have a little bit of shade coming in. And the other thing I like about parsley is that it's not real hard to take care of. It grows beautiful, and I add a little dried manure in here, and I like to make the dirt a little bit rich for my parsley. It seems to like that. It's easy to grow in a container, but you want to make sure if you do put it in a container, parsley has a long taproot, so put it in a large container. I think I've got, let me get this one, so you see this where it's going? I'm just going to cut right there, and that'll help right here also. This parsley looks like it really wants to go to seed, so I'm going to take that much. Okay, and that'll keep it bushing out also, or it won't just go to seed. Okay, now Cecilia, would you help us with the sage over here?
Sure, I'd love to.
Great. I'd like a little bit of maybe 3 or 4 stems of the sage.
Okay.
And this is called purple sage, but once again, it's used for anything that regular common sage is used for. This is our common sage here, and we've cut some of that from another part of the garden. And Cecilia, if you'll show us how you cut and still let some of the Can you tell us about it?
Right here,
Okay.
right in between where these two new shoots are coming out of the plant, I'm just going to cut right at the top here, like that, right?
Yeah. Get us a little more than that.
Okay. I want to skip around here so we don't give it too much of a haircut.
Yeah. That'll
Like
just
right down here.
great.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful. I want to get a couple more. That's great. That is beautiful. Oh, it smells good, doesn't it? Cece, what does this make you think about?
Turkey and dressing.
Yes. Oh, and squash dressing. You can put sage in squash. That's wonderful. Sage is very easy to grow. Sage needs some sunshine, just like all herbs. Needs real good drainage. Sage will come back year after year. But I like to have some sage coming up too a lot, because sage will eventually get a little bit leggy and things like that. So I start sage by seed. It's very, very easy to grow by seed. Okay, Cece, this is wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, I think I'm going to go back to another herb. If y'all would like to come. So now let's take a look at some oregano. Oregano, oh, I think of pizza when I say oregano. Oh, Hannah, it's beautiful. I love this. It's wonderful.
And it smells wonderful too.
Great. Are you going to cut us some so we can?
Sure.
Okay, great. Oregano, as you see, is very prolific and grows wonderful. Early in the spring, you'll just see these little round mounds of oregano once you get it established. Oregano takes full sun. There's really not a whole lot that you have to do with oregano, is there?
Oh, it grows wonderfully.
I think I've already cut this twice this year, and it's June right now. This is a delicious herb on a lot of things, salad dressing. We're going to do a lot with this oregano, aren't we?
Yes.
It's great. Try to grow some oregano. It grows wonderful, and it will really take off. You might even want to contain it. Oregano's wonderful. We've got chives right over here. Let's look at that. That'll be great. Goes real good with oregano,
It
doesn't
does.
it? Oh, here's a little chive patch. I like to put chives in a raised bed so that when I go to transplant them or share them with a friend, they're easy to dig up. Chives come back over and over. Well, I say chives, but these are garlic chives. They are a mild garlicky flavor. It's wonderful. It's good on all kinds of stuff, but it's very, very easy to grow. Full sunshine, water. You can fertilize early in spring if you'd like a lot of herbs. And this is how we'll cut them. I'll just cut chives over here on this plant. I'll cut a few chives over here on that plant. Just cut the leaves right down. I don't want to cut the whole plant. And I try to pick out real nice, small, beautiful, tender leaves. Garlic chives are nice and tender in the springtime, and a little later in the summer they get a little tough. So I usually try to use my garlic chives up in the springtime. They'll come back next spring real nice. And they look real pretty, like a grass. They're beautiful, garlic chives. Try them, they're easy to grow. Oh, beautiful nasturtiums, Jasmine.
Aren't they?
Wonderful. Oh, aren't they wonderful? Nasturtiums are a wonderful garden plant, herbal. We plant these all through the garden because they help, number one, they help keep bugs away, don't they?
They do.
Believe it or not. They look beautiful too. And you can make all kinds of stuff. You can put them right, they're edible. We can put them right on our salads, blooms and all. We can make vinegars with them, all kinds of things. They're very useful. We grow, how many new nasturtiums did we grow?
Hundreds, I think, hundreds. We love them.
We love them.
And they're
so-
easy to grow too.
Yeah, easy to grow, the blooms. Now the one thing you want to do when you grow nasturtiums is that you want to grow them in poor dirt. We don't fertilize them. What happens when you don't fertilize nasturtiums, you get these beautiful blooms. If you were to put them in rich soil or fertilize them, you would get big leaves, which the leaves are nice too, but the blooms are beautiful. So what we try to do is we do not fertilize our nasturtiums. So for beautiful blooms, don't feed your nasturtiums. This is another beautiful herb in our garden, and we like to grow our echinacea. This is purple coneflower or echinacea. Isn't it beautiful?
It is.
It's beautiful. It's just starting out here. And this is a very nice, useful tea. You can use the leaves. We like to grow it in a raised bed because we like to harvest the roots in the fall. And we make teas with our echinacea, don't we?
Yes,
It's wonderful.
very good.
Beautiful flower too. And the birds in the winter, if you'll leave your little cone heads for the birds, they'll feed on it all winter, especially the goldfinches. It's really fun, really beautiful. Now we'll go over to our comfrey, another big beautiful plant. And comfrey has lots of uses, and you may know a lot of uses for comfrey, but I'd like to talk about something that you don't hear a lot about. Comfrey is full of calcium. I mean super duperly full of calcium. Comfrey is easy to grow. If I want it to grow nice and thick, I like to take these little flowers off because that's going to cause my comfrey to bush out really beautiful. And what I really want to collect, I'm going to put those right down here. I really love to collect these nice big leaves because comfrey is full of potassium and protein and calcium, we can just throw it right back down on the garden floor and it fertilizes our garden naturally. It fertilizes other herbs. It's just wonderful. So that's what I love about comfrey. I just put it right back down in the dirt, these comfrey leaves, some of them. And some of them I'm going to collect and I am going to make a tea with it for my plants because it's a natural fertilizer. So I can grow my own organic natural fertilizer with comfrey, very simply. Comfrey does like rich soil, so a lot of compost around it, horse manure, it'll just flourish. And once again, I'm trimming this back so it will bush out even more and make bigger leaves so I can make tea or lay it back down in the garden. It's wonderful. And another wonderful, easy herb I'd like to show you is basil. So we'll go around and look at our basil. All right, girls, working in the basil. That's where I like to see you. Basil is a beautiful plant, a wonderful plant. We like to grow our basil right out in the garden because of many reasons. Basil grown by tomatoes help the tomatoes be sweeter, which is really nice. Also, if you'll notice, there's no bugs at all on basil. Bugs hate basil. Isn't that wonderful? So basil, we like to grow it on a plastic. We've grown it without the plastic before, but the plastic keeps it nice and warm because basil loves warm weather. It loves warm nights. We're probably going to trim the basil. We can trim it by the leaf, and we don't want to take all the basil off one plant. That's why we grow so many plants. We like to make lots of pesto, and we like it with tomatoes. Basil and tomatoes are delicious. There's a lot of wonderful things you can do with basil, a lot of cooking things you can do with basil. So anyway, we're going to be very careful with our basil. We're going to top off the very top leaves. That will keep it from flowering, and we can use all these leaves for something else for later on. We're going to just harvest it and put it in our baskets of blessing. Sometimes we want to take these lower leaves off and we can use them before they decide to perish. And we can go all around it. We have so much basil here. It's such a blessing. And it won't go to waste, will it?
Oh no, we love to use our basil.
There's been times we've have basil every day.
Every day.
Every
yes.
day. It's
Love it.
wonderful. So like I said, every now and then, I don't see any on these plants, but if and when this starts to go to flower, you want to pinch that back, and that'll help your basil to bush out. This basil will get 2 feet tall. These are fairly new basils. We grew these from seed. Once again, I'll tell you that they're very easy to grow from seed. Basil is beautiful. It's delicious. Smells wonderful. And another real fun little tip: if you're in the garden and you're getting eaten up by bugs, you can just take a leaf, rub it, and rub that on your arms, and the bugs should leave you alone. Either that or they'll have a good dinner of basil, won't they? But anyway, so these are our basil plants, and thank you, girls. I think we got quite a lot of basil. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, we did.
And our basil still looks nice. We can trim it up here and there, and it still looks really nice. It will grow also very late, right up to frost. So
Yeah, I
it's
think so.
wonderful. It sure does. It grows great big and right up to frost. So these are some of the easy herbs that we love to grow, and we hope that you'll experiment and try some yourself.
in the South, when it gets really hot, we really do like our sweet cold tea. But caffeine's not always good for us. So there is an herbal alternative. It's mint. Mom, can you tell us about the mint tea we're gonna make today?
Yes, this is apple mint, and I have a wonderful patch that I'd like to take you to. Come with me to my apple mint patch. This apple mint has been growing. I started it last year. I want to tell you a little bit about growing it yourself so you can make your own tea right at home, right from your home. Will save you a lot of money and keeps you home. This mint loves to grow. It loves water. It loves to spread out. It grows from runners, so it's very easy to just spread out. And I like to put a lot of mulch because I've found out that when I put a lot of mulch and I put early in the spring, I put a lot of fertilizer, that mint just gets going. It is just wonderful. And what we do is we like to just snip off the tops of the mint, you know, no more than a third of this mint, because what will happen, we make tea and the mint bushes out even more and gets thicker and more beautiful. This is probably the nicest patch I've had in a while, but you do want to watch it. It will cross over to your other mints. So if you have, you know, chocolate mint and peppermint and different spearmint, you want to try to contain your mint, watch it, make sure the runners don't go mixing in with your other mint so they don't cross. But apple mint makes the most delicious tea. Our neighbors taught this to us about 14, 15 years ago, and we'd like to show you how to make that. It is wonderful. Cecilia, you need, there you go.
Thank
Isn't that
you.
wonderful?
Yes,
I'm going to
it's
just
beautiful.
trim it up a little bit.
All right, now that we got our mint to make our nice tea, the first step we're gonna do is we're gonna chop it up really nice here. Just break it up any way you can with your hands, bruise it, and you can use the stems and everything. The whole bit.
The whole
good.
plant.
Yep.
Oh, this smells so good.
You can smell it.
Oh yeah.
If you just chop that up, if you want it, you can use scissors, a knife, whatever you want. Hands work just as good.
Mm-hmm.
If you'll chop that up in there.
Okay, I think some people even put this in the blender with a little water if you don't want to use your hands.
So this is going to be a cold tea that will be ready to drink as soon as we're done making it. It's a very fast and great thing here. I'm going to just pour just a little bit of water here, cold water. Probably, I'd say about a quart, because we're going to make this pitcher full of tea here. So I'm just, as you can see, I've just put a little bit of water. And as we keep, like, almost like you're kneading bread in a way, just breaking this up, bruising it, squeezing it out here, the water starts to turn
Oh yeah.
a different color.
Look at that.
See, it's turning like a greenish color now.
It's tea. It's making tea.
Yep. We're just literally squeezing it out here. And this tea, I just love this tea in the summertime. It's so refreshing and it's very delicious, and it's much better for you, of course, than a whole bunch of caffeine from regular sweet tea, but this just is wonderful stuff. So you just keep on chopping it up here, breaking it up and squeezing it out, and it's turning a nice brown there. And once this bit of water here is starting to turn brown, I'm ready to strain this off.
Okay.
Into
And
my pitcher over here.
we just, you can use tea strainers that you've purchased, but we like to get a sheer curtain and cut it up because this strains it really fine, and so that you don't have any mint particles in your tea. So that's what we do, and we just wash it really good and just put it over your pitcher.
You hold it there and I'll pour it.
Okay. Wow, that smells so good.
I know, it smells so wonderful.
That's so easy too. Look at that. There we go.
So, now this stuff right here is still good. You can still use this to keep making your tea.
Like pour more water over it and
just pour another, however much amount you want. I always do by quarts because we like to drink quite a bit. Just pour more and you start squeezing and chopping.
Just
And
do
see,
it
look how
again.
fast it's turning, and it's the same process all over again.
And so we've used about, you see what we've used here, about a bowl full of tea to, you know, a little
about
less than a gallon,
yeah.
maybe a half a gallon.
Half gallon, yeah.
So you don't have to use a certain amount of herbs. You just want, you know, and if it's too strong, add more water. If it's too weak, add more herbs. It's that easy.
All right, let's drain this off.
Okay, so we need our cloth again. There's lots of different things you can use to strain it. You can get creative and use different kinds of cloths. Some people might like little mint particles in there.
Yeah.
If you don't want to use one so fine, that's nice. Wow, look at that.
Now, this is ready to sweeten. Jasmine, can you tell us about how we sweeten this tea?
Sure. We like to use raw honey to sweeten our tea, but we can't put the cold raw honey into the cold tea because it wouldn't mix up. So what we do is we pour a little in a saucepan with just a little bit of water, and then we add it to the big pitcher of tea, and
we heat it up.
Stir it up, right? Yeah,
so that the honey will melt into the water and then go into the tea. Right. But today we're going to just use regular raw sugar to sweeten our tea here. I don't measure because I just sweeten to taste. So however sweet you like your tea, that's however much sugar you want to put in it. You want to stir it in really good because you want your sugar here to dissolve. So.
You could probably heat the sugar up too, melt the sugar in a little bit of water too if you want it faster.
If you used white sugar, it would probably dissolve faster. Raw sugar is just not as fine of a grain.